How's everybody doing today? I hope you're having a happy Friday. I have an awesome book that I'm going to share with you today. And I think we will all learn something new in this book. The book I have today is called Don't Let Them Disappear. And it is about 12 different endangered species across the globe. It is written by Chelsea Clinton and was illustrated by Gianna Marino. Let's see what we can learn today. Don't let them disappear. So, there are animals on every continent and in every ocean on Earth. Tall ones and short ones, massive ones and smaller ones. Animals with long necks and long legs. Animals that are strong and not so strong. Every animal species is unique and important to life on Earth. Some are almost gone and could become extinct if we don't act to save them now. Okay, let's talk a little bit real quick. This gives us a key, okay? So some animals are in more danger of disappearing than others. Conservationists who study endangered animals classify the level of the risk of extinction on the scale of not endangered to extinct. So let's talk about that scale for just a minute. Not vulnerable. Those are animals, though every year more species are added to the categories below. So that means they're not really at risk. Nearly vulnerable. Animals that are on their way to having fewer than 10,000 left. And that's not a lot when we're talking about on our whole planet, right? Vulnerable. That means there are fewer than 10,000 left. And if nothing is done, they could become extinct in the wild in 100 years. Endangered. Endangered species mean that there are fewer than 2,500 left. And if nothing is done, they could be extinct in the wild within 20 years. Critically endangered means that there's fewer than 250 left. And remember, we're talking about on the whole planet. And if nothing is done, they could be extinct in the wild within 10 years. And if they are extinct in the wild, that means the only animals left living of their species are in captivity. So that's like in zoos and rescues and places. And extinct. Once they're extinct, that's it. They're gone. And they don't come back. That means there's no remaining animals on the earth of their species. Okay. Long before the sun is up, giraffes wake early to get a head start on the day's work of walking, eating, and staying away from predators. Towers of giraffes will walk 9 miles or more each day to find food that they need to eat. Even though they're the tallest animals on Earth with the longest necks, they use their nearly 2-foot long tongues to reach even higher for the leaves that make up most of their diet. Every giraffe has a unique pattern of spots to help hide from predators. But giraffes don't rely solely on their spots for protection. Giraffe kick can kill a lion. Wow, who would have thought that? I didn't know that. Don't let them disappear. So the range, that's like where they live. Giraffes live in Central, Eastern, and Southern Africa. And they are an endangered species. They are a vulnerable species. Their endangered status is vulnerable, And the reasons why their endangered status is vulnerable is because of habitat destruction, poaching, war, and climate change. So that means that their homes are getting destroyed, people are hunting and killing them, and the climate of the globe is changing in ways that hurt them, okay? All right, here we have gorillas. Waking up with the sun, gorillas leave their nest to find food before they'll need to rest again as the day heats up. While gorillas eat mainly plants, they sometimes snack on small insects too. It's hard work gathering the dozens of pounds of food that adult gorillas need to consume each day. Gorilla moms carry their babies on their chests or backs, and a troop of gorillas communicates by using sounds and facial expressions, similar to the way we do. In captivity, some gorillas have been taught to use sign language. Language is not the only thing humans and gorillas share. Gorillas can also catch human diseases, even a cold, which could be deadly. Don't let them disappear. And the range where gorillas live is central sub-Saharan Africa. And gorillas are critically endangered. And it's because of habitat destruction, poaching, and war. Ooh, blue whales. They're the largest animals in the world. Whales are mammals like us, but unlike us, blue whales have to focus on breathing, never be fully asleep. They take in oxygen from water and air, and when they breathe out, the vapor can soar up to 30 feet high, making them visible, including to the whalers, who almost hunted them to extinction 50 years ago. They tend to travel in big pods, preferring to swim alone or in pairs. That doesn't mean they're not in touch, though. Blue whales communicate with another one up to 1,000 miles away, at a frequency too low for humans to hear, and in a language scientists are still working to understand. But scientists can sense their heartbeats from up to 20 miles away. I bet they have really big hearts, don't you? Don't let them disappear. In their range, blue whales live in every ocean except the Arctic. They are endangered. And it's mostly because of hunting. But now that hunting blue whales is outlawed, their numbers are starting to grow. So isn't that good? We've made some changes to try to help them, to keep them from becoming extinct. Here, by the time the sun rises up, rhinoceroses have long been grazing, sleeping only during the hottest periods of the day. Rhinos spend most of their time eating or rolling in mud to stay cool. The mud also acts as sunscreen and shields rhinos' skin from bugs. While rhinos spend little time together in a crash or a group, they're often found in the company of oxpeckers, which are birds that sit on rhinos' backs eating bugs. Oxpeckers also warn rhinos if danger is approaching. That's particularly helpful to rhinos because their eyesight isn't very good, though their sense of smell and hearing are strong. Rhinos have very thick skin, and their horns are made from keratin, just like our fingernails and hair. Don't let them disappear. Their range is eastern and southern Africa, northern India, southern Nepal, Indonesia, and Malaysia. And rhinos are critically endangered. Black rhinos, Sumatran rhinos, Javan rhinos, and northern white rhinos. And nearly vulnerable are southern white rhinos. Vulnerable are our Indian rhinos, and the reason why is because of poaching, which means hunting, right? Or habitat loss, which means their homes are being destroyed. Although giant pandas spend most of their time alone, in the afternoon you might find an embarrassment of giant pandas eating lots of bamboo together. They need to eat so much bamboo, more than 25 pounds a day, because it's not very nutritious. Unlike other bears, giant pandas do not or roar, but they do squeak and growl and use scents to communicate with one another. While they're born pink, the distinctive black and white fur they later grow is a form of camouflage, helping giant pandas blend in with shadows in their native bamboo forests. They rarely need the camouflage, though, since they have very few animal predators. Don't let them disappear. Their range is in central China. Their endangered status is vulnerable because of habitat loss. Whale sharks. are the biggest fish in the world and maybe one of the few animals who never sleep, no matter what time of day or night it is. From the moment they're born, whale sharks never stop swimming. Alive when dinosaurs roamed the earth. Whale sharks have been around for hundreds of millions of years. They don't have a single bone in their bodies. Whale shark skeletons are made up of cartilage, the same substance that's in our nose and ears. No matter where they are, shivers of whale sharks can sense a drop of blood if it's in the water nearby, though they eat mainly plankton. Don't let them disappear. Range is close to the equator in oceans worldwide. Their endangered status is endangered. It's because of hunting, collisions with boats, and getting trapped in fishing nets. In the Arctic, for much of the year, day and night do not have the same meaning they do in other places on Earth. In the summer, it's light for nearly 24 hours a day. In the winter, it's dark all day. Celebrations of polar bears sleep when seals, their main food, are sleeping. Most of their seal hunting takes place underwater. To withstand below freezing temperatures above and below water, polar bears have 2 layers of fur. Their fur gives them their whitish coloring. Their skin is black. Polar bears have good eyesight to help distinguish different shades of white on the ice and can smell seals up to 20 miles away. Don't let them disappear. Their range is the Arctic across the United States, which is Alaska, Canada, in Denmark, Greenland, Norway, and Russia. And their endangered status is vulnerable. It's because of climate change, habitat loss, and less prey to eat, so they have less food, As the sun begins to set, lionesses head out to hunt antelopes, buffalo, wildebeest, zebras, and giraffes to feed their pride. But they don't hunt all day. Lionesses can sleep for more than 15 hours a day. Male lions sleep even longer, up to 20 hours a day, even though they rarely hunt. Both lions and lionesses will fight to protect their pride. A male lion's mane provides extra protection and also shows how old a lion is. The darker the mane, the older the lion. Lions and lionesses communicate with one another in many ways, including by roaring. A lion's roar can be heard from 5 miles away, helping members of their pride who might have wandered off to find their way back, or helping hunters find them. Even though they're called the king of the jungle, they're still not safe from harm. Don't let them disappear. Their range is sub-Saharan Africa and India. And the status is Asiatic lions are endangered and African lions are vulnerable. And it's because of their conflict with human neighbors, less prey to eat, poaching, habitat loss. A romp of sea otters settles down to sleep by lying on their backs and wrapping themselves in kelp so they don't have to worry about floating out to sea. If there's no kelp nearby, and sometimes even if there is, otters will join together, making a raft for stability and security. Sea otters use rocks to crack open the clams and other shellfish they like to eat. If a sea otter finds a particularly useful rock, it will travel with it and use it over and over again. After every meal, sea otters wash their paws and fur. No easy task given that they have more hair on a small patch of skin than we have on our heads. Don't let them disappear. They live across the North Pacific Ocean from Japan and Russia to the United States and Canada, possibly as far south as Mexico. Their status is endangered. It's because of pollution, less prey to eat, habitat loss, and poaching. And now these are sea otters. We also have our own kind of otters around here called river otters. that live in fresh water. These live in the salt water. Okay. As the sun sets, orangutans prepare nests in the trees, sometimes building roofs to cover the mattresses they have woven out of branches and leaves. Like us, orangutans prefer to sleep in protected spaces. Unlike us, their arms are longer than their bodies to help them navigate from branch to branch, tree to tree. Orangutans tend to spend more time on their own than in groups, and much of that time is spent climbing, sitting and swinging high above the ground. When a congress of orangutans is together, they communicate with sounds, facial expressions, and gestures like we do. Their similarities to us are reflected in their name. Orangutan means person of the forest in Malay, the language spoken in orangutans' native Malaysia. Don't let them disappear. Their range is from Sumatra, Indonesia, and Borneo, Indonesia, and Malaysia. They are critically endangered because of habitat loss and poaching. Night has fallen. Tigers wake up to hunt. Their night vision is up to 6 times more powerful than ours is. As the biggest cats on Earth, tigers need a lot of meat to stay healthy and strong. They hunt mainly for deer, wild pigs, antelope, and water buffalo. Tigers are good athletes and can jump more than 15 feet in one pounce and run more than 40 miles per hour over short distances. Unlike most other cats, they love water and can swim more than 3 miles at a time. Generally, solitary animals, tiger moms and cubs, together form a streak, each with their own distinct patterns of brown, black, or gray stripes. Don't let them disappear. They live in South and Southeast Asia, China, and Russia. They are endangered because of poaching and habitat loss. Ooh, here's one of our favorites. Elephants. Late at night, the herds are fast asleep, enjoying their second sleep of the day. The first comes when the sun is high and hot. The largest animals on land, elephants have trunks that can weigh 400 pounds and can be more than 6 feet long. Elephants use their trunks to sense an object's size, shape, and temperature, and they use them like a snorkel when swimming. All elephants have trunks, but not all elephants have tusks, the very long teeth that help them find food and water. Elephants have a range of emotions like we do, including love, compassion, and grief, and even cry over their lost loved ones years after they've gone. Don't let them disappear. They live in sub-Saharan Africa, South and Southeast Asia, and Asian elephants are endangered. African elephants are vulnerable, and it's all because of poaching and habitat loss. Oftentimes elephants get poached for their ivory, which is what their tusks are made out of. Let's make a pledge as fellow inhabitants of planet Earth that we won't let any of these species disappear. The end. I know that was a little bit of a long story, but if you're wondering what it is that you can do, it gives a few tips in the back of the book, and I'll just share a couple of those real quick before I go, okay? So if you want to help animals like the ones in the book, but you don't know how, you can just share the word by telling your friends and family about some of these animals, what makes them special. And a lot of people don't even know that their species are in danger to some extent. You can support our zoos. And I know right now maybe we may not all be taking the opportunity to do that, but I have heard that our local Knoxville Zoo and other places are taking lots of precautions to keep people distant and safe. If you're concerned about that, call them and ask them and see if any of you feel comfortable going to still visit the zoo. And even if you're not, I saw that our local Knoxville Zoo had some pretty cool fundraising opportunities, like they were selling works of art that was created by the animals there to help the zoo's funding. And I thought that was a really cool way to stay socially distant but still support your local zoo. So that might be an idea for you. You can make sure that everybody, all your friends and family, know that they shouldn't buy jewelry or trophies or anything else that might be made from endangered animals. So, for example, like those elephants, the last ones that we saw, anything that's made from ivory is made from an elephant's tusk. And also, just doing the things that we talk about all the time to help make our earth more healthy, like recycling, so that we can help cut back on global warming, or anything we can do to cut back on our carbon emissions, or, composting, keeping things out of landfill. Anything that is going to help our earth to be a more healthy place and to conserve our earth is going to help the environment be better for our animals. And of course, we know this one, but I'm going to say it again anyway. We should never, ever, ever litter. Never throw trash in the ocean or the lakes or waters, creeks, ponds, on the ground, anywhere. Always make sure we're putting our trash where it goes, because littering trash can hurt animals. And you can also make sure that you're planting trees when you have the opportunity to. It's a great time of year for planting new plants and trees and flowers, because that helps to combat climate change. And also making sure that we're celebrating our animals on their special days. And you can find these online, but each one of these, whatever level endangered species, has their own special days. February 27th for polar bears, March 16th for pandas, May 18th is just general endangered species day. And the last Wednesday in May is World Otter Day. Is that cool? And June 21st is Giraffe Day. July 14th is Shark Awareness Day. That would be a cool time to have some fun shark parties. And July 29th is International Tiger Day. August 10th is World Lion Day. The 12th, World Elephant Day. The 19th, Orangutan Day. September 22nd is World Rhino Day. And September 24th is World Gorilla Day. How cool is that? Okay, I hope that you learned something maybe new about some special, wonderful, endangered species that we have all around the world. And thank you all so much for listening. Awesome weekend. And I'll come back on and visit you one more time again on Monday. And Miss Mika and I will do some things throughout next week as well. Okay, so tune back in. Bye-bye.